Hi guys, it's Carisa, and I'm so sorry. I very stupidly started running my dishwasher before I filmed this. I'm just gonna let it go. So hopefully it's not too distracting. I'm sorry about that. So today I'm going to talk to you about week 34, which started off kind of surprising. I went to see my doctor and she said that the baby was breech. I was almost positive she was transverse, and I was actually explaining to her why I thought that. And when she did my tummy check, she said, nope, her head is right up here by my rib cage. And she said, and because she hasn't turned yet, it doesn't mean she won't, but it's safer for us to plan ahead and schedule you a C-section, because she said that it's safer for me and the baby if I don't actually go into labor, if I'm going to just end up needing a C-section anyway because of her positioning. And obviously that's not anybody's preference usually. I mean, it's very rare that you hear someone say that they want to have a C-section, but I agree, and it makes sense to not have to go into labor knowing you'll just have to have a C-section anyway, and that makes it an emergency situation. And you know, I'd like for things to go as smoothly as possible and just be as safe as possible for both me and the baby. So she said it's easier to schedule one and cancel it if we don't need it than to need to put one in later. But she said if I do go into labor before then, not to worry. And it's funny because that night, I could swear that night I was walking around at the store and I thought, I think the baby flipped. Because I was feeling movement high, not as high as I was expecting I'd feel it, I guess, if it was true, which I still haven't had confirmed yet, so I don't know. But it was in a new spot. It was higher than usual. It was up sort of above my belly button. Not much higher, maybe a few inches above my belly button. And that was higher than I've been feeling things all along, pretty much. So that would be interesting if she had flipped the day that I decided to schedule a C-section, because she hadn't flipped yet. But we'll see. I'm 36 weeks tomorrow and I still don't know yet for sure. Excuse me, I am getting over a cold. I hope I'm getting over a cold. I felt much better today than I have, but it's sort of getting worse again. I don't know. So in week 34, I started noticing that her movements were remaining less intense. And I know that I've read a lot about that in the third trimester, especially when you get closer to the end, your baby has less room to move, and therefore the movements seem less noticeable, or they're not as powerful. And I guess I forget that sometimes, or I don't forget it so much as sometimes the movements feel just as strong as they always did. So when they aren't any longer after that, especially for a couple of days, it starts to worry me. There's nothing I can do about that. I'm just gonna worry about her no matter what. But I just try and really pay attention and make sure that I feel her consistently, and that's the best that I can do. I do think that I experienced my first Braxton Hicks, and if it wasn't, I have no idea what it was. This pregnancy has been so easy. I have had like 5 incidents of round ligament pain, and most of it happened in the first trimester. I haven't even felt that. I mean, once, like a week ago, I sneezed and I had a pull in my stomach, but that was it. I have been so fortunate. And I think this technically happened the night turning into week 34. I stayed up kind of late that night. I was editing videos and I was at my desk for a long time, trying to get work done. And I wasn't tired at bedtime. Normally I go to bed anywhere, I mean, I'll be honest, I'll go to bed as early as like 8 o'clock. But usually 9:30, 10 o'clock is the latest I'll be up. And that night I stayed up till 11:30. I was editing a video and I was working at my desk and sitting for a lot longer than I probably should have, minus, you know, just bathroom breaks. And when I stood up to go to bed, I noticed that it felt like my uterus clenched and it just didn't stop. My understanding of Braxton Hicks is that it feels like a tightness, but I expect it goes away. This did not go away. I got up, went to the bathroom, you know, washed my face, got ready for bed, went to bed, and all night, you know, every time I woke up just to sort of adjust or use the bathroom, I noticed that it just felt like, you know, if it was normal and it's just kind of relaxed, but it went like this and kind of scrunched, I guess. It wasn't painful, it just felt tight, and it went away in the morning, but it was consistent. it lasted probably, I don't know, 8 hours. So I don't know what that is, but it hasn't happened since. Okay, so I have a note here that says butt cheeks. My number one complaint this pregnancy has been my butt. And I wouldn't even complain about it. I wouldn't even say that it is a complaint, but if I had to say what the most uncomfortable thing I've experienced so far is, you know, like if anybody had to say, oh, okay, second to actual labor and birth, what was the most uncomfortable thing? And a lot of people would have something to say readily, and mine would be my butt cheeks. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I can't control it or prevent it, but my butt feels so crampy all the time. I'll stand up. You know, when I'm sitting, it's usually okay, but when I stand up, when I get walking, or by the end of the day, really there's no time of day that it isn't the case. It just feels like the muscles in my butt are just clenching for dear life and just trying to make me absolutely miserable. They feel all buckled up, you know? And sometimes it's way worse than others. And it's not even really painful so much as it is just, it's kind of like, it doesn't feel like my butt's asleep, but it's like having your leg asleep. It's not really painful, it's just weird, and it makes walking difficult. So that's sort of what I deal with when, you know, when I'm talking about that. And I try to sort of stretch and prevent it as much as I can, but I can't, there's nothing I can do. I think I do clench my muscles in my sleep because I'm sort of trying to balance myself against this big belly in front of me. So when I'm sleeping on my side, I must really tense in the back. If I had to guess, I really don't know, but that's just the thing that's been going on. And I could have mentioned it every single week. I could have every week been like, oh my gosh, you guys, my butt, it's just acting up and it has a mind of its own. But it's never felt like it was enough to really bring it up. And at one point recently, I realized I don't think I've really mentioned it. So I just wanted to tell you. Because I guess that's it. That's that. I don't know what, I don't know. It's different from in the first trimester. I think I told you guys at like 10 or 11 weeks. It was when I was on vacation. I had sat in the car for a really long time. I think we drove 8 hours. And I thought I had sort of like a sciatica pain. That was different. That was like a straight, oh, hi, Normal. That was like a straight line sort of pulling sensation. I haven't had that since. This is just, it feels like, you know, when you do too many sit-ups in your stomach, it feels like I did too many butt sit-ups. Or squats. So there, I talked about it long enough now to make up for all the weeks I didn't bring it up before. I know another thing that I have brought up many times is how I have days where I feel normal, where I feel like I'm not even, it's not that I don't feel like I'm pregnant, but I don't feel like I'm experiencing any physical differences. And then there are other days where I feel like everything's different. For example, I don't have a note about this, but I noticed that a lot of my weight gain is in my thighs. I've never had big thighs in my life. I mean, they've been proportionate to my body, and if anything, they're usually smaller than what would be proportionate because pants are always tight on me in the stomach and the butt, and then the legs are really baggy. But my thighs feel big. My thighs feel big lately and borderline cellulite-ish looking. So that's really strange. That's new. If I could form some like curve at the bottom and like actually have some hips from this, then that'd be cool. But anyway, as far as that goes, I don't know how much I've brought up the drastic differences between how I feel energy-wise. But it's become more drastic in the last few weeks because this has been happening sort of all along. But the highs and lows of it are so vastly different now. I will have a day where I have almost a scary amount of energy, almost an impossible to believe amount of energy. Now, when I say that, I mean for someone who's 34 weeks pregnant. I don't mean for normal me. Because if I have sort of a baseline at all times, which is usually sort of run down and tired feeling, this is just a few steps above that, where I feel like I can make a to-do list and get most of it done. Because on any other given day, every to-do list I make is too advantageous. My body just craps out. I can't go up and down the stairs as many times as I want. Just 2 or 3 loads of laundry in a day is enough to kick my butt, because I have to take it from upstairs to the basement and then come up from the basement and bring it back upstairs. And what are there, like 10 or 11 stairs each way? And with what's been going on with my butt, that just feels impossible after a while. Some days I really have to plan strategically if I have to go in the basement for any reason, because my butt and my legs and just my whole body in general just feels that exhausted. So I'll have days where that's not even a problem and I don't think anything of it, and I have a lot of motivation and I can do a lot of things. And it feels mental too. It's not just, it feels like mental sharpness and enthusiasm, and I have the physical ability to carry it out. But I can guarantee you, if I have a day like that and it's just one here and there, maybe once a week or twice a week at the most, the next day is a totally different story. And the problem is when I'm feeling good, I am in complete denial that the next day is going to be the complete opposite. I'll start planning things that, oh, I didn't get to this today, so tomorrow I'll do X, Y, and Z, and I get really jazzed about it. And then the next day I hate myself because I feel like I'm on Benadryl and I feel like just gum stuck to the bottom of a shoe and I can't move. And mentally even, I just don't even care. I just feel like a blob. I just want to sit on the couch and do absolutely nothing. And it's hard because I feel guilty about that, but I know I probably should make time for nothing. And that is really tough for me, because we have so much left to do, and and who knows when she could be here and I could run out of the time to do those things. And I imagine this is what every woman goes through. There's things that you just have to do that you haven't done yet. Either it's because you need help, or you're waiting for your partner to help you with it, or you need them to be involved in some way, or it just gets pushed to the back burner because it's not as much of a priority as other things. But those to-do lists still have to happen before the birth. And whether it's because of a surprise like a premature birth, or just that you just never know when you're going to go into labor, I'm sure that those things don't feel like they matter anymore after that. If I had to guess, that's what I would think, another mother would tell me is, yes, I know you're worried about it now, but don't worry about it later. But I haven't done major things that, like, install the car seats. We still have to install the car seats. There was an incident with one of them. There was cat pee in it. And I was really upset, and I almost threw it away and just bought a new one. But Mike scrubbed them all down and had to wash everything and hang everything up to dry. And that was the day we were going to install them. So there's that. So we still have to install the car seats, and that's a stress because if I did go into labor, we don't have a car seat in the car. I also haven't packed our hospital bags. I talked about this in my last video, and I cut it out because I wasn't articulating properly what I was trying to say. But for some reason, packing the hospital bag is so stressful to me. I'm an overpacker, and I've tried to watch videos on it on YouTube. I feel like everybody does such drastically different stuff. So many people are like, I don't care, I might need this, I'm packing it. And then other people are like, don't pack too much stuff. Don't be stupid and bring too much stuff. And it's like, well, what does it hurt if it's there, if you need it? I don't know. We only live a couple miles away from the hospital, so it's not that bad if we needed to have, Mike run home and get something. But I don't know why I feel so overwhelmed by the thought of packing a hospital bag. It might be because there's stuff that I know I need, but I don't want to wait, because if I need to go, I'm not going to have time to throw all that stuff together. That's the point of packing it ahead of time. So I think I have to just buy extras for the stuff that I use every day that I would need to pack. I don't know. I'm really overthinking it, I'm sure. But those are the two major things. Everything else, like her nursery's not done. I can film a tour for you guys at any point. I just need to sort of declutter it and finalize some things. But that's that's not that important. I will do that, and I can do that at any point. But I don't know. I just run out of, when there's certain things that you're typically capable of, if you've got a certain number of hours in the day and a certain amount to do. But at this point in my pregnancy, I keep forgetting that I can't expect that much stuff out of myself. And I am losing my voice. So I guess I have to try and finish this. I have a note here that on Saturday I got in bed at 7:20 and ate peanut butter M&Ms. What happened on Saturday? What was Saturday? I don't remember, but I couldn't wait to get in bed. And I had a little bag of peanut butter M&Ms because those have been a week, like salty, sweet peanut butter stuff to me has been a weakness. The peanut butter cup Halo Top ice cream, which is way better for you at least, and peanut butter M&Ms. I ate my weight in peanut butter M&Ms, so I quit. I quit cold turkey. I stopped. That was my, that was the end of my journey with peanut butter M&Ms. But I went to bed at 7:20. Mike was downstairs playing video games or something. I don't remember. I wish I had written down what happened that day or what I was doing that made me so exhausted. But I got in bed, and I think I watched a couple of videos either on Hulu or on YouTube on my phone, and I just passed out. I just went to bed. I woke up at like 3 a.m. and brushed my teeth and stuff, and then I went back to bed. I was tired. I also thought okay, so I want to make gifts for the labor and delivery nurses, and I tried to Google, like, what do they really want if you give them something? And the answer apparently is just food, like snacks. But if you know otherwise, let me know. I've seen a lot of cutesy stuff, like mugs and like water cups and stuff and keychains, but I'm sure they just want something to snack on, right? So especially at Christmas time, there's something about December, no matter what you celebrate, I think there's a lot of snacks and food around, and I think people enjoy that. So, but I was trying to do some research on that, and I found a bunch of articles called things like, what labor and delivery nurses wish you knew or want you to know. And I read a lot of them, and I'm so glad I did. There was so much information that I've never heard anybody else say, or that I didn't even take into consideration. And none of it was bad. I don't know, when I see something like that, like, those clickbait articles that all your hairdresser friends on Facebook will post about, like, things your stylist wishes she could tell you, and it's all like stuff that makes them sound like jerks and makes you feel like a jerk. These lists weren't like that. They were very, very informative and helpful. By the way, I don't remember if this is in my week 35 notes or not, but in case you were just silently judging me for not getting some of that stuff done, like, what is she doing all day then? Is she just sleeping all day? I worked until the day before Thanksgiving. So the last day before my maternity leave that I just imposed on myself because I work for myself was the day before Thanksgiving. So I was really cramming a lot in to finish by then because I wanted to be able to just be done for Thanksgiving and on. So week 34 doesn't cover that. That happened in week 35. But now I'm sort of free and I have a lot more time to get things done. And be able to accomplish the stuff on my to-do list that I've been putting off. So just in case you were wondering, because it's like, well, what are you doing? I've been working very, very hard. So it does feel good to not have the obligation of work and to be able to really take time to rest now, because I know I won't be able to do it later. I would like to ask, though, if there's anything that isn't traditionally on a hospital packing list that you either had or someone brought for you that you hadn't thought of or planned for that you were glad to have. Like, for example, for me, I'm bringing a necklace fan. It's just a little battery operated fan I'm putting around my neck because I really feel like I don't like to sit in a room with still air because it makes me feel like I can't breathe. I probably won't be able to use it until after she's born, and then even then, how often will I be able to use it? But if it's the difference between feeling like I can calm myself down or not, if I start to feel panicked about breathing, that's what I'm gonna do. Or also because it just feels so stale and hot in the hospital all the time. I know that the rooms are temperature controlled, but my sister had this problem, and it's the same hospital. She liked the room a little bit cool, but the nurses kept coming in and scolding her and turning the heat up, like cranking it way up, because they said that it was too cold for the baby. So I'm sure that's gonna happen to me, and if I can at least have a fan, that'll prevent me from feeling like I'm gonna run down the hall and burst into flames. So if you have any suggestions or recommendations or anything that you're really glad to have, I would love to hear about it, because that is my goal for this week, is to get those bags packed. So that's it. I'll talk to you guys later, and Hopefully I have more of a voice then. I hope all my American friends had a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.